Hello and welcome to the next episode of Tumorously Yours. Today we have with us Amardeep Sidhu, a pilot who faced sudden turbulence in his own life in 2014 when he was diagnosed with stage 4 non Hodgkin's lymphoma. 10 years later, today, he's fit, he's healthy, and he's here to share his journey with us. Thank you, Amardeep sir, for coming on Tumorously Yours. So, to begin with, we wanted to know a little bit more about you, where you're from, when you were diagnosed, what were the symptoms, how you reacted, how long was the treatment, and how you took the news when you got to know.
Now, you see, basically, I have been in the army since 1981. Joined India in 78 and got my commission in 81. Subsequently, within about 3 years, I changed over to aviation. And thereafter, I've been in aviation most of my life. So this happened when I was in Jaipur. I was in the headquarters posted there. I had been actually getting the symptoms for the past almost 1 year. And later on, the doctors told me that had I reacted on time, maybe things wouldn't have gone to this level. But you see, the typical tendency was to always compensate. In case you are not feeling very good, you try to compensate for it. I kept doing that for a long time.
Yeah.
Subsequently, when in September of 2014, I flew about 3 days earlier, and I felt very uncomfortable. And that particular day, I bled lot in the stools. So immediately I was taken to the hospital. They did endoscopy, and the endoscopy, that doctor was very experienced. The first sample he picked up, it was in fact an ulcer of 14 centimeters inside my stomach.
Oh my.
Yeah, that was and I've been compensating, for the last almost 1 year for it.
Yeah.
So when he picked up the first sample, he was so experienced. He said it's malignant. That's what he said. So initially, you see now, there's a the reaction was very funny. I'll say. First, I was very impressed. I forgot that he's talking about me. I was very impressed that the first sample he's picked up and he's been able to point out. Then I realized that he's talking about me. It's like out of a comic. But then, I'll tell you what. I always say, your profession dictates your reactions to a very large extent. So being a pilot, my first thing was that how to control the situation. So it was not that, now I knew that this is there with me, the emergency is on board, but how to, cater for it. So by the time he pulled out that tube and I could talk to the doctor again, he says, the type of malignancy can only be confirmed after a biopsy. And my first reaction was to doctor that not to tell my wife. And from next day morning, they evacuated me from Jaipur to Delhi. So I moved there. Again, they did all the checks. Took about 7-8 days to finally home out to what kind of a malignancy that was. And that was a time when slowly I broke the news to my wife that this could happen. The point was not to, suddenly break the news. It was over that these things can happen. And slowly by the time the reports came, she was mentally prepared for it. And I was back to my normal self within the first about 1 hour, because the thing is that now I have to live, now I have to come out of it. The next response was how to come out of this situation. So only response was that I should be positive and I should follow the treatment, whatever the doctor gives me. And then September 20th onwards, my first chemo started. But I really, initially I thought, I'll be one of the rare people having cancer. So when I went to the oncology department in the army hospital, I was shocked to see the amount of people that were there. Okay, that was a very sobering effect. Then on my first chemo, when I went in, I saw children there. Oh, that is something I felt that they need to live much more than what I need to. I said 54, had a lovely life. If I don't make it, doesn't make a difference, but the children need to live. So that was which shook me actually. So thereafter, of course, I underwent 8 chemos. That's God's grace. And as we progressed further, finished off in February of 2015, and March onwards, I was back to the office. And the help I got from the army, I'm telling you, I just cannot thank everybody and anybody that wanted. And even after 6 or 7 months, when I started going to the office, I was told that don't take it seriously, don't take the work so seriously, take your own pace. So I really appreciate,
I actually want to ask you 2 things. The first thing is you said that, you went into that emergency mode that, okay, now I have to figure out the solution to this. And I find that really interesting. But I also want to know, before you reached that stage where you said, okay, now how do I deal with this problem? What was your immediate, because generally, even if your flight were to go into an emergency situation, your first thing might be a little bit of panic or, fear or whatever. What was your first few reactions?
No, nothing at all. No fear, no panic, nothing at all.
Really?
Yes. Because the situation is there now. I have to face it. It is as simple as that. That's exactly what happens in the aircraft.
I love it.
If I start panicking in the aircraft, then I won't live out of it.
And nobody else will either.
Exactly. So it is purely my, that kind of control we developed over a period of so many years in flying. It exactly kept you cool.
Yeah.
Now you just start thinking of the next step, what is to be done. So immediately I felt that till the time I didn't know that I had cancer. I was walking around, I was talking, I was absolutely, feeling good about. I was feeling not very. I'll not say good about it, but at
Yeah.
least I was. I didn't expect that I'll be getting into this kind of a mode. So why
Yeah.
should I panic now? It just went into that recovery mode. That what
Yeah.
next action I need to take, because you see, it is not only handling your own self; it's handling
Yeah.
your family is very important. It's in fact is more important. We have been through it. If you start, panicking, or you start showing too many emotions,
Yeah.
then that affects the family also.
100%.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like my daughter says, Papa, your EQ is zero. So, so maybe that helps also.
Yeah, maybe in this case it was a good thing.
Yeah, true, true.
Amardeep, sub too hardcore you are.
Yeah.
See, I tell you
Jesse,
what.
as soon as the situation came, you were like, no effect on me. How to deal with this? Let's just
So I tell
start,
you
you
what,
know.
it is purely this. This is what you are trained for over so many years. It happens. You see, it
Yeah.
in fact finally starts affecting the complete life.
For
See,
so many years of conditioning that, okay, this is how you deal in this type of time of emergency, this is how you
Mm.
true.
deal. I think that conditioning just transferred into your
Very, very
personal
true. Very true.
life.
I mean, it came more or less naturally at that point. It was
Yeah.
not that I made any deliberate effort to do that. It
Yeah.
was natural.
Yeah.
It's very natural. See, what happens is in every situation, there are immediate actions, what you need to take, and there are subsequent actions.
Mm.
So, immediate actions, so it was just working out what are the immediate actions that I need to take and what are the
Yeah.
subsequent actions. So, it worked out logically, everything.
The other question I wanted to ask you was that, so you, like you said, that you wanted to not tell your wife immediately and you wanted her to kind of find out slowly. But how did you do that? Like the fact that how did you have to introduce to her that, okay, now this might be something that's going to happen?
You see, I started telling her when I'm in the hospital, she was with me. I said, these ulcers can turn malignant at times. 50% chances are there, it can be, it cannot be. Slowly, we kept, talking about this way. That started, that, in the back of the mind, that thing started coming in that it could be. So that is, you see, those 7-8 days which I had in the hospital, by the time the reports came, she had mentally got condition. Of course, it does affect at that point when
Huh.
it really announced, because you always hope for the best. And as luck would have it, that initially they had prepared me for an operation also. So I was undergoing all my preparations, mental and physical. But then when the diagnosis was done, they said, we don't need to operate on you. The medication itself would be good enough to recover you. So now you see, when I was mentally prepared for an operation also, they said this can happen without that. So it is one positive step again. You see?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So when I reached the hospital, they put me in a wheelchair. I said, if I could walk till yesterday, why shouldn't I walk now? You know?
I'm
I
loving your
think
spirit.
this is like something we've seen again and again. Also, like when people are going through treatment, they still want to do like the basic life functions by themselves, right? Because it gives you like that
Why not?
confidence that
Yes. Yes.
you feel that spirit also in you. Yeah.
See, it gives you confidence and makes you feel that you're still part of the world. You see, mine was stage 4. It has already reached stage 4.
Yeah,
Hmm.
But
exactly.
not once did I feel that I'm not lived through it. I mean, that feeling never came. Not even once. The best part was this was September of 14, and I was already planning that I had built up an old aircraft which we had flown with Army Aviation during the 65 war, and 2015 September was the golden jubilee of 65 war. I was already planning to get my aircraft going and fly that expedition for the 65 golden jubilee 65, or which I did also. So the focus was there. Focus was I said that the problem is the doctors to get me well. I monthly have to tune myself to get well. That is what I
Yeah.
went about.
Hmm.
So you see, the negative thoughts tend to come to your mind. Aim is to block them. So you can't expect everything in life. I mean, this was really good for me. So I didn't,
Hmm.
had any cribs that even if I don't live, I'll live a good life.
But
So, Amardeep sir, what part of your army training do you feel helped you shape your response? Always dealing with like a very high stakes situation, and like that's why you had to always stay cool, or like was it some other
Yes,
part of your
most of
training?
the times, yes, most of the times you have. Because you see, as luck would have it, I have had an extensive tenure in the Siachen Glacier, flying in that area.
Hmm.
So situation in that place is very, very different. I mean, you can't even dream of it if you're not been there. So your stakes are always high there. So you get so conditioned to this kind of an approach to life that nothing really surprises you.
But do you think
Hmm.
it's because you were so, because again, now that you said the area which you were working in is such a danger prone area, you're in that thing of whether you live or not more often than anybody else. So do you think it's because of that
I
as well?
really, I really don't know, because you see, it conditions. It's a progressive conditioning of the mind. You
Yeah.
see, we have a
Hmm.
good shares of peace areas also, and the same. So, but as luck would have it, I had almost more than four tenures in the glacier itself. I mean, flying in that area. So, and you're not alone there. There are so many people like you who are working there. So all of us get into that kind of a mindset. So you see, you mentally get tuned to being exposed to danger and take it as a routine, this thing, not as a exception. In fact, that is enjoyable also. That it's like something like a cake.
Thrill out of something else you're
Yeah,
getting.
yeah,
It's like a roller coaster, you're saying.
It's
it
like
is
an
like that.
adventure, right?
It's a roller coaster.
You
It is.
go on a very dangerous adventure and you come back and you're like, isn't that?
Yeah, true. It is true.
No, but he's
Yeah.
talking about it like something like skydiving. Like I went skydiving, and this is how I was talking about skydiving, and you're talking about it like that for
Yeah, it
cancer. So
is.
I'm just
Yeah,
amazed.
he was skydiving only, but in a different way.
Fair enough. Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
But
See, one thing is very clear. Life will always not be, bed of roses. You will have your ups and downs. So we have to take both of them in a, with a level head.
Yeah.
See, the success should not go to your head.
neither should
And
we.
if when you're down, you should not be grabbing that nothing is going your way. Well, things will recover back again. And I feel that personally, I'm a much better person now after being exposed to this. In fact, my joke with the doctor was when he told me that day, first day, when he said, "Sir, stage 4." I said, "How long do you give me?" He said, "Why are you asking me this?" I said, "Take मेरे पास ना बड़े पाप किए जिंदगी में मैंने, and I can have enough time to make peace with the Lord. But the profession I'm in, when the aircraft goes out of hand, there's no time. You're only trying to fight the aircraft to get it out of the situation."
But tell me, you must have had some downer days, right? Where you would have,
Yes, they were.
where you would have been
So,
questioning
so
what's
when you
happening.
have the days like this, you
Yeah.
see you don't sit alone there. When you have days like
Hmm.
this, see that's what I'm saying. Where friends and family are very important, especially naughty friends. That is more important. See, initially when people came to know, they don't know how to react to. So then after the first chemo, I started back on WhatsApp with the people. I said, "Yeah, talk to me. I'm still the same, and no difference." So these friends are very very essential, to keep you out of things. So people would regularly visit me. So my wife would put on. See, I'm a very social person. I love meeting people. So my wife would put on a mask, give me a mask. I used to put on a mask, and people used to come to our house. So these things helped a lot. But what I did was I kept my exercises on because of the bleeding. You see, what happened was I became very weak. I had, my hemoglobin from 14.5 dropped to 9. Fortunately, the kind of diet she gave me, my wife, it ensured that slowly and progressively my hemoglobin picked up without any blood transfusion or platelet count. I used to be on steroids and some medication for the first 5 days after the chemo, and the 6th day onwards I used to be on the road again walking. See, that exercise was very important. It built up your resistance. Secondly, in the walk you met people, and thirdly, as exercise, what it does build up your immunity also. So when we ask the doctor, he says, "Sir, you may be eating the best of diet, but how do you know that what kind of insecticide, pesticide were used on that crop?" So the same thing may affect somebody, same thing may not affect somebody.
I think
Yeah.
you are very similar to Tamanna in that way, Amardeep sir. Like even when she was going through a treatment, a lot of friends visited her and she would like draw a lot of like energy and happiness from that. Because
Yes,
she's
makes a
also a very
difference.
social person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forever grateful for that.
And
Yes,
as
that's
you
what I.
said, like even the sense of humor part, it really helped just to
It's
lighten the
very
mood.
important. It's very
Yeah,
important.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even I had
Because
lost my complete hair. So the
Hmm.
hair was all part of the game.
yeah, really. And also, I thought it was quite simple because I didn't need shampoo, I didn't need hair care, I didn't need it made life easier.
Yeah,
Now
true,
I
true.
want to go back to that. So,
So Amardeep sir, I want to follow up a little more. So, you mentioned that like there are some days which come which are low days, right? How do you deal with, those emotions during those low
See, you have
days?
to train yourself to cut out
Other
from
than,
emotion. You see, when you feel that way, you just get out of the situation. When I say that is, that is, I was sitting in a room feeling low, just get out of the room, pick up my book, put on some music, read some book, and if required, just go out. But
so changing the
don't
situation.
don't keep yourself in the same situation. Why do you want to keep yourself in a situation like that when you're not comfortable? The
Hmm.
best is to just walk out of the situation. When I say that just go to the room where you're not comfortable, go to a more happy environment, meet people, or read. I'm very fond of reading, so I used to
Okay.
read a lot.
but I like the
Got
fact that you're like, this is a learning that's not just for somebody who would be going through cancer. I like this learning in general, the fact that when you're in a tough situation, why are you staying in it? Change the situation if you
Yeah,
can't change
true,
it.
true,
I
true.
like that. And books allow you to go into a different world altogether. So,
Oh yes, true, true.
So Amitabh sir, what
Mhm.
about your kids? Like, how did you break the news to them? And especially like given they were not with you. So what was
You
their
see,
reaction? Or
yeah, I'll tell you. See, my daughter, she was in college first year that time. So, some people told her she was not really couldn't fathom it. But when she came home, by the time she came home, she saw me. And within about a month, she came back for a break. And when in fact, before that, when I spoke to her, she found my voice absolutely okay, talking absolutely okay. So she felt very heartened about it
hmm.
because she couldn't perceive the depth of the situation that initially. So when she saw me after my first chemo, I was, this was the Shara break for her. She found me behaving exactly like what I was behaving before that. So she felt very comfortable that whatever is there, Papa's going to be okay. My son took it slightly more seriously. But then when he met me again, he also got into the same situation that, my dad is okay. So it's very important how you communicate with the children that's it in that situation. Conflict with everybody in your family, how you communicate with them. The EQ zero help,
I like how you're buying into this now that your daughter's saying it about you. No, but I think it's also that vibration that you radiate is going to spread. So
Yes,
if
yes,
you're going to
very
sit
true,
and
very true.
be sappy and cry, then everyone
Yeah,
around,
true.
around you will cry and cry. But if you're like, okay, it's fine, we'll
Yeah,
figure, then everyone starts feeling that way as well.
true, very, very true, very true. And I'll tell
Yeah.
you the first thing is self-pity. Never get into self-pity.
And the most useless thing as well. It amazes me that you dealt with it that way. I really like
See,
it.
okay, Tamana, even if they were my last few days, let us say I will take it that way, then why should
Yeah.
I be sad? Let me be at
Exactly.
least happy in those last few days, That is
Agreed.
what should be.
Another thing that I wanted to probe on was the fact that you said that your treatment went on till early 2015 and you got back to flying almost immediately in June, right? So many times people want to take like a break after some because it's a life altering disease. And in your
So
case,
break
it's
already was there. Na? I had a break from September till June. So break was already there.
like you were going through treatment. So generally, people
Yeah.
take that break for a mental and emotional, break also. But why did you choose to go back immediately? Like, why was it important to you?
Tamanna, I feel the most relaxed when I'm in the cockpit of the aircraft.
I love it.
My mental worries are on the ground that time. I and my aircraft, we are a extension of each other. I feel that way always.
Very
And
interesting.
you see, Tamanna, I'll just tell you, when my father passed away in '94, I was doing my test pilots course that time in Bangalore. And we were flying with the Navy in Bombay that day. So I was flying that time, and I got a message that to get back. So we landed. My instructor told me that the father is not well. I said, I'm very sure he's not more. He says that he's no more. So I booked my ticket. I'm way back in '94. It's not very easy. So finally, we managed to book our ticket, and my flight was late in the evening. So once again, I requested him that can I fly? He said, yeah, you will not be in the state. I said, I'll be happy of flying. So I again flew for the next 3 years. Similarly, when my mother passed away in 1999, the same thing. I booked my ticket. I was back into the cockpit again, doing my flying. So that is where I de-stress.
Amardeep sir, you mentioned also in the start that like after the whole journey got over, right? You became a better person, right? In some
Yes.
sorts you were saying. So like I want to kind of go more into that. So like what parts of yourself did you see change, like something which you would do differently now? And what are some perspectives for you that changed after this?
You see, whenever these big cats attack any of the animals, they sprint from there, and as soon as the danger is over, they're back to normal. As when you're in aviation or in military, this is the kind of reaction you have. The time the danger is over, you're back to normal. But when you are going through a thing like cancer, it's all 6-7 long months when you're undergoing everything. So you start looking at life in a different manner. So small little things which used to bother me earlier, they don't bother me anymore. At times, I used to be short-tempered, but now that is mellowed down a lot because the thing is that I really don't that is not going to take me anywhere. So I'm more, a lot of more tolerant. Initially I used to see world as only black and white. Now I like a lot of shades of grey in life. Second, one more point I always felt: don't compare yourself with somebody else. You don't know to get into those shoes what he's been through or she's been through.
Really?
So I feel that the shoes I put on are the best ones. They're the most beautiful ones. It couldn't be better than that for me.
Yeah, but also I'll tell you. So, I was telling a colleague the other day. He was asking me something about the cancer treatment. He said, "Did you have pains as outcome of the chemo and all of that?"
Mm.
And I said, "Yes, but the doctor had said, Amardeep sir, that you will have ulti. They had given me certain types of things. I didn't have any of the
Yeah.
things that the doctor said. I had full
Okay.
different only. So I had pain idhar in my jaw. And if you
Okay.
think about it in life." How often do you even think about the fact that you have a muscle in your jaw or that you have a bone here? Not really
Exactly.
focusing on that, right? You're just assuming this is
Very,
my pain. And suddenly I was
very.
having pain here and I was having pain here. I was like, यहाँ दर्द कैसे हो रहा है? यहाँ मतलब क्या है दर्द होने के लिए?
Yeah, exactly.
That these little things never mattered before. I didn't even notice
True,
them,
true.
to be fair.
See, another thing when they were looking at it, अगर body में pain हो रही है, that means body जल्दी respond कर रही है, ठीक. Otherwise,
हाँ,
pains are,
हाँ, कुछ तो हो रहा है, सही तो हो रहा है
Yeah.
अंदर.
So I still
Yeah.
remember, I used to fly one of our old aircraft. So उसमें से oil used to leak from the, हल्का सा oil leak used to be there. So I told my person to look after the aircraft. I said, this why is oil leak there? कहता सर oil है तभी तो leak कर रहा है. तो नहीं leak करेगा भी
बात तो सही है.
So the pain worry that means that body. I mean, it's responding. That means the body is responding to the situation. Na?
So before we let you go, we have one last question for you, Amardeep sir.
Mhm.
What would be your one message to someone who has recently been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer?
See, first of all, I tell you, no self pity and focus on yourself. Normally, we tend to give up. Don't give up. Just don't give up. Okay, let's say even if I was in a situation where it is non-recoverable, but don't give up till the last minute. And finally, what I say is listen to your body because body gives you adequate symptoms well in advance. I did not,
Mm.
so I suffered for that. So I keep telling people do not ignore symptoms and avoid Google doctor, please. Go to a proper doctor. He's qualified to do that, and he's going to give you a
Yes.
best solution.
We have really loved this episode. I am very
Yeah.
excited that you agreed to do this. Thank you so much.
In fact, I really am grateful to both of you for taking on this onerous task. It
Yes.
does help. You see,
But
that point in time, the person is clinging to every straw.
we are
Yeah.
very
Thanks,
grateful.
man. Thanks, man. Really wonderful talking to both of you, and it's a wonderful job both of you are doing. Thank
Likewise,
you.
it was
God
Thank
bless
you.
both
wonderful.
of
Thank you.
you.
Yeah.
Wish both of you good health and a very long and happy life. So be prepared. So I'm not a pessimist. I'm a hardcore optimist. But I'm mentally prepared that if something goes wrong, I have to accept that and I have to respond to a situation. And I always tell my pupils also, don't react, respond. There's a wonderful difference between the two.
Yeah.
So if you respond, you'll always do a correct thing. But if you react, you may
Solution
do a wrong
driven.
thing.
Yeah. Solution driven approach.